continue collecting, and remember, stay casual. Welcome back, casual collectors. I'm Steelwolf
and Spider Kid,
and today we're bringing you a review of the Marvel Legends Superior Spider-Man.
He's currently available on Big Bad Toy Store, GameStop, and Amazon for around 30 to 40 bucks. Okay, so for box details, on the front you can see the figure, everything comes with, Marvel right there, and the name. And for the side, it's some good artwork. And for the back, it's that same artwork but bigger. And for the side, it's the window packaging and Marvel 85 years. And for the top, the same thing, Marvel 85 years. And for the bottom, nothing. And with that said, let's get them opened.
Alright, and here we have Superior Spider-Man out of the package and looking absolutely amazing, man. Those tentacle claws are freaking amazing. And I gotta say, the deco on this guy does look good. So with all that said, and a quick look at the figure, let's go ahead and take it back a little bit and get into all the accessories that come with Superior Spider-Man. Alright, so here we have all the accessories that come with Superior Spider-Man. Now, we removed the head and the hands that came attached to the figure to give you an overall presentation of everything that comes with the figure himself. So right away, let's go ahead and start with the head sculpts. And we do get two, so let's take a closer look here at the one on the left. And right away, pretty good detail on this guy. So these lines are not sculpted, they're painted on there, but nonetheless, it looks great. I mean, nice job on the paint lines there. Got a little scuff right there, but still looks good. We can definitely see a little bit of the sculpting of the ear, so that's pretty neat. Got a little hole back here for some weird reason. Still looks really good. I like it. Definitely looks good. Nice detail on those web lines. And as for the lenses of the eyes, it's got a nice little sheen to it, so that's really nice. I mean, you can see it in the camera there, so very nice little reflective sheen, just a little bit of it. And this looks more classic comic book right here, you know, so pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and check out the other head sculpt here. Now, this is the one that they really boasted on when they revealed this guy, which is because he has this deco on the lenses, which kind of makes it seem like it's a chrome or a reflective lens. And as you can see, it kind of looks like you can see parts of the city skyscrapers through the lenses. Now, at a distance, it does kind of mimic that, but obviously when you get closer to it, it kind of just looks kind of random, kind of splotching, you know, it just kind of looks kind of weird up close. But at a distance, it definitely gives it that look that they were going for, as if it's reflecting buildings and whatnot. So very, very neat little effect that they added for these lenses. And I think this is the first time that we have ever gotten something like this. And I gotta say that it's not too shabby, it's pretty good. And as for the web lines, again, these web lines are not sculpted in, but they are very clean, as you can see here. Very comic book-esque right here. It kind of reminds me of like double lines that they would do like in a comic, you know? Pretty cool. So then you get, you know, the option to use this kind of like new lens type of thing they have there, reflective lens, or you can kind of go with more of a classic look, which is just the all-white lens. But I think that either one you go with, it's gonna look kick-ass. Next, let's take a look at the backpacks, because we do get two of his backpacks. And again, this is where Superior Spider-Man stores his tentacles when they're not in use. So pretty cool that they gave us two. But just in case you were wondering why they gave us two, well, it's because this one right here is the one to make it seem as if the tentacles were stored in the pack itself, which is why there are no peg holes, as you can see on the side. So really cool that they did that. They didn't have to, but it's cool that they included it. So very neat. And right away, it's a simple sculpt, nothing too crazy. It's kind of blocky, but I think that looks really good for what they were intending to do. So very cool, very reminiscent of a spider, you know, although the legs are a little short, but it definitely looks like a spider to me. So very nice. Very simple, again, nothing too crazy about this. It's pretty thin, it's kind of hollow in the back there. It's got 3 pegs for the back, so very cool. Now, there's not much difference to this one here, and the only big difference is just the fact that it actually has the peg holes so that you can peg in the tentacles or claws. So very cool. And I feel like it is a little bit thicker, but you know, either way, very neat that they gave us two of them. So that's what the two differences are. So, and the next thing is, let's go ahead and take a look at these tentacles here, or these claws, or these legs. Very, very cool. Now, I don't know if these are the same ones that came with that Iron Spider that was released not too long ago. I think if anything, they're just a little bit sculpted differently. Definitely a different color, but I'm not sure. We don't own that figure, so I can't tell you 100%. But regardless, these guys came out looking awesome. I mean, look how aggressive these suckers look. Man, Definitely they nailed those sharp edges, which they're not sharp. It's not going to cut you or hurt you in any way. I mean, it's kind of at the edges here. It's kind of a little soft, as you can see there, so it's not going to snap on you, at least not right away. Not if you're not intending to snap it, it won't, I don't think. Now, the cool part about it is that it's got in this cool, kind of like a cherry red almost of a color to it, which looks really, really nice. And it's got that smooth, kind of glossy look to it, so it's very cool. As you can see on the camera, it's showing up very, very glossy, nice and shiny, so very, very cool. Love the sculpt on these things. But the best part about it is how articulated it is. So at the very base, which is the part that goes into the pack itself, you have this peg here, which is on this kind of like ball joint right there, or this joint there that can actually hinge, you know, vertically up and down. So that's pretty cool. And then obviously it's going to be able to rotate this way a complete 360 because it is on a peg hole. So that's pretty cool articulation. And as for right here, we have our second joint right here, which will let you also hinge it vertically, as you can see there. So you can go about that much and about that much there when you straighten it out. And the cool part to that is because it's on a type of like peg, that this piece here can actually rotate right there, as you can see there, see? So it rotates, which is pretty neat for different poses that you're going to be doing with this guy, so very cool. And the same articulation continues on to this next joint and also for this joint. They can twist right here just like that, and they also hinge, so very, very cool. And as you can see, if you straighten them out completely, this is kind of what it looks like, so very cool. And then you can obviously bend it at the hinges here, just like that. That's about as far as it'll go, almost like a scythe there. And then from here, we bend it as well, and that's about as far as it goes there, which actually looks like a scythe. And then from here, we can actually bend it in further, just like that. And that's as much as it's going to go in, so not bad at all. Definitely it's going to add to some cool looking poses with the Superior Spider-Man, so very cool. And the same goes for the rest of these claws or tentacles here, so this the same articulation you see here is what these other guys are going to be able to perform as well. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the hands that we get here. And as you can see, we get literally 2 extra set of hands because he already came with 2 attached. So technically 2 sets, but if you want to be super technical, then we get 3. So let's take a look at these first 2 up here. And right away, they gave us some thwipping hands, which is pretty neat. Nothing too crazy about these guys, at least for the sculpt. We've seen this before many times. And they definitely went with the color scheme of the Superior Spider-Man, which, as you can see, the inside of the palms there are painted in a red. So very nice, you know, contrast between this red and the black. I mean, with the 2 whipping fingers right there, that looks really cool. So very neat. And as you can see, there's still some sculpt in there. It's there, you know, so nice detail on those hands. Very neat. Let's take a look at the second set here. For our second set, we have some fisted hands. Again, standard issue. This should already be included. They shouldn't be considered extra. They should always have fisted hands. And just like the thwipping hands, you can see the palms there are painted in that red, which looks really good again with that red and that black. So very, very nice sculpt on these. Again, nothing new, nothing different, but at least the paint is a little bit different. So very cool. Next thing, we're gonna have these kind of like grabbing hands here. And what's cool about him, as you can see, it actually looks like he has claws. So that's pretty cool. Definitely like that. Give him some menacing poses with this one. So very cool with these opened hands, these kind of grabbing hands. Gives you a lot of cool little, you know, choices to do some action poses with it, so very neat. The only thing though, as you can see, this is our third set of hands, but they did not give us wall crawling hands. I feel like they have it out for wall crawling hands and they're trying to phase them out or something because they haven't given us too many wall crawling hands with Spider-Mans lately. So I don't know what it is, but I feel that they should have had some wall crawling hands. I do like these, don't get me wrong. These are very cool. But some wall crawling hands would have been nice with a Spider-Man figure, but you guys can be the judge. And that's going to do it for all the accessories that come with Spider-Man. Now, before we move on to some figure details, let's go ahead and see what all this stuff looks like on the figure himself. Alright, so here we have the Superior Spider-Man with the white lenses head sculpt, which looks really nice on him. Definitely continues that same deco, the detail looks really nice. And then we have his whipping hands in place as well. We went ahead and put on both whipping hands, which does look cool, so rock on, Spidey. Very neat. And then we also went ahead and placed the backpack on him, but the one that mimics the tentacles being stored inside. As you can see, the holes are not there. And that does look very sleek. It looks good. It looks like it's part of him, you know, like it's part of the costume and it's not some extra accessory that's just sitting on his back. Because sometimes these backpacks tend to kind of pop out a little bit, but this one looks like it's integrated in there, like it's part of it, almost as if it was molded and sculpted that way on the figure, like it doesn't come off. But yeah, looks good. Very nice. All right, let's see what the other accessories look like. All right, and here we have Superior Spider-Man with the lenses that look chrome, almost as if they're reflecting, as you can see there, which does look good. Does make it seem like there are some buildings and skyscrapers in his lenses, although when you get closer, it just kind of turns into like splotchy, kind of blurry things. So it definitely looks better at a distance. And then we also have in place his two fisted hands, as you can see here, which they do look better this way, just because you can see that red and it kind of shows it off. Turn them around, you can see it's all black there, so not too shabby and looking good. And the next thing we have on him, as you can see, are the tentacles themselves, so they look amazing on him. And then we have the backpack that actually had the peg holes for the tentacles, and as you can see there. And last but not least, we have his last set of hands, which are those grabbing or clawing hands, which do look great, by the way. I mean, check out that palm all painted red. Definitely looks good. Here it is from the back, as you can see there. So that looks really good. Definitely like these hands. Still would have liked some wall crawling hands, but hey, you know what? I'll take this. And there you go. And that's going to do it for all the accessories that come with Superior Spider-Man. Alright, so before we get into some articulation, let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of the details on Superior Spider-Man. So we already covered the head here, and then we kept the one that has those reflective lenses. I mean, they're not really reflective, they're just made to seem like they're reflective. I don't want you guys to think that they're reflective, it just kind of mimics that. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue down with the neck area here, since again we already covered the head. Let me just move this head up a little bit, and as you can see, we get a lot of that cool black lines, the webbing lines throughout the neck, and they look great. They did a good job and a clean job with these lines, so that continues throughout the whole neck there. And you can see on the back here, it's even more detailed because they kind of get a little scrunched up there and then they kind of spread out, which follows the pattern of not only the body, the shape of the body, but it kind of follows the pattern of the webbing, how it spreads out. So very, very cool. And then obviously we can see that big old peg hole back there, but he does have two additional peg holes here for that backpack, since that backpack did have the three actual pegs on them, so that they can have more of a, so they can kind of sit on his back a little bit better. Turning them back to the front here, we're going to go down to the chest area, and right away we get that very iconic Superior Spider-Man spider logo, which came out looking great too. Very clean lines on him, man. I do gotta say, nice and clean. And I like how they went super detailed with this red right here, and as you can see, there's even some black lines that continue the web pattern throughout the top of the figure, so very, very cool. Nice attention to detail there. Now let's see, did the pattern continue all the way? Oh, it does. I mean, it stops way up here, but that's still pretty damn good. They didn't have to go all the way deep into that, but that's awesome. And as you can see, there's still some webbing in there, so very cool that they did that. Very awesome. Nice attention to detail on that one. And if we can see, we can follow the pattern of the spider legs here on the top, which doesn't tend to go through the butterfly joint there, and it goes all the way over to the actual shoulder. So very nice when it comes down to keeping the pattern intact. Very cool. Obviously when you pose them and move them around, it's going to break that pattern, but just so you can see here, that pattern is intact in a neutral position as long as you keep them in that neutral position. So very, very cool that they did that. Awesome. Let's go ahead and move down further down to the ab area here. Nothing, to really talk about detail. I mean, you can obviously see all the musculature on this figure. I mean, he's packed full of musculature in there, so at least we get that. But it's just basically all black. You can see no belt or nothing like that. In the crotch area, there it is. There's nothing to talk about there. Here we have the thigh area, and again, other than the musculature, there's nothing else to talk about. It's just one solid color. You can see his knees. Here we have the bottom of the feet and the boots area here, and again, it's all done in black, but we get a ton of that musculature, which is always pretty damn cool. And then down to the toes areas here and the foot, we get some different paint. So we get red for the bottom of the heel, and then also red that surrounds the actual front of the foot. So very nice. You can see the bottom of the feet. We get peg holes, but no actual treads that go across. Let's go ahead and turn them around here. Starting from the back, as you can see, here we have those red heels, which is pretty nice. And still all black here on the back as well, but we get all this cool musculature, including the calves and all that. So more musculature on the back of the thighs. There's the parting of the spidey butt there. And then we have the lower back here. Of cool musculature there. And again, there is this eyesore of the peg holes. But you know what though? As much as it's an eyesore in certain angles, in other angles you can barely even see it. And that's because it blends in pretty well with the black. You know, so not too shabby. But this one though is going to stand out more though, and that's just because it's the red part and there's just a big hole there, so that'll stand out a little bit more. But you know, not too bad either way. Either way, it's not too bad. And we already covered the back part, which is pretty amazing on how detailed it is. As for the shoulders, we can see that the webbing continues there. We have part of the spider leg pattern that goes all the way to the back, even to the back of the actual butterfly joint there, as you can see. So very nicely, actually paid attention and went ahead and gave us all this detail in these little crevices. So very cool. Sticking to the arm here, moving down to the bicep area. Again, a ton of musculature. This guy is completely freaking muscular at every inch of his body from what it looks like, so very cool. And we get these cool kind of wrist gauntlets here that are on his wrist area, or his forearm. Very neat. It's got this metallic gray on it, which it's got kind of a sheen to it, so that looks cool. And this nice cool red deco that's right there that's been painted, so that's really cool, like that. And it definitely looks like it's sitting on top, so they definitely look like gauntlets or pieces of armor right there for his forearms. We already covered his hands. Nothing on the inside of the wrist area there. It's just all black and musculature there. And the same goes for the other side of the arm. We got those cool gauntlets there, but nothing underneath there. And that's going to do it for all the details on Superior Spider-Man. Alright, so for some articulation on Spider-Man, let's see, he can look up to about that much. So that's going to be about the maximum that he can look up, which is not too bad at all. Pretty good. And he can look down about that far, which is great. I mean, as you can see, the chin is pretty much touching the top of the chest there, so very good range on his head, at least vertically. Let's see, he can actually turn and rotate his head completely around, as you can see there, no problems there. He has no head tilt on the head at all. And let's see, does he have a pile driver motion? No, it doesn't seem like he does. So no pile driver motion on the head there. But you can still move the head pretty good when it comes to vertically up and vertically down. Moving further down to the chest area here and the arms, we can see that he does have the butterfly joints. And bringing the butterfly joints back, this is about as much as they're going to go. I know I have one arm that can go back more than the other. I just think I just turned it wrong. But this kind of gives you those diving poses, which does look good, I gotta say. It looks really good. Now coming forward though, let's see how much he can go forward. He kind of like he's choking somebody out kind of thing, you know, or bringing his hands together here. Let's see. Those butterfly joints will go in. So the butterfly joints will go into about that much to give him about this much of a range to reach in and forward, almost like he's choking somebody out, which is pretty good. And I think you can go just a little bit more too. But yeah, you know, not bad at all. Look at that. So not too shabby. His arms will go up on the shoulder there. They will reach out to about that much. So a little bit past a standard T-pose, which is not too shabby at all. And the arm does have a bicep swivel, as you can see here. It will swivel at the bicep. We do get double jointed elbows that will go in to about that much, which is not too bad at all. Moving down to the hands are on a peg, so they will swivel, as you can see there. And he does have vertical hinges on these hands, which will allow the hand to move up this way and kind of like in a palm stance there, and it will allow him to come down to about there. So not too shabby on that. Moving down to the abdominal area here, he has the ab crunch joint, which is right there, and that will allow him to ab crunch forward about that much, which is really good. And it will allow him to ab crunch backwards a hell of a lot, to where it looks very awkward. So not too shabby on that. And now on the waist area, he can swivel a complete 360, as you can see there. Moving down to the actual leg area here, he can do the splits. He can do the splits, just put it that way. Not too shabby. And then he has that G.I. Joe classified articulation thing where they can actually drop down on the hip area. So you can see right there. That's a great example of what I'm talking about. So these can drop down, which do help out with articulation on the legs. And then they will pop back in place once you're done with it. So it'll break that kind of awkward look where there's a gap there. So very neat that it has that. So very neat. And then as for the thighs, we do get an upper thigh cut, which will allow it to swivel, as you can see there. Upper thigh cut. And then we also get double jointed knees that will go in to about that much, which is pretty much we're going to get the heel touching the butt. So pretty good articulation there on that double knee. Moving further down to the leg area here, we do get a boot cut or a calf swivel, as you can see right here. So very neat on that one. And then the legs, and then the foot will kick up about that much, and it will kick down about that much. And then we also get toe articulation. Look at that. Pretty freaking sweet. And that's going to do it for all the articulation on Superior Spider-Man. Alright, and to measure Superior Spider-Man out, he comes in just a little bit above the 6-inch mark. And to give you an idea how long these tentacles are, they come in just a little bit above the 7.5 mark. Alright, and for some size comparisons with other Marvel Legend figures, here we have Superior Spider-Man with another Superior Spider-Man there on the right, and also with the Marvel Legends Dr. Octopus there on the left, which they're all auto, but there you go. And for another comparison with other toy lines, here we have Superior Spider-Man with some G.I. Joe classified figures. We have the Cobra Bat there on the right, as well as G.I. Joe classified Crocmaster on the left. And for another comparison here, we have Superior Spider-Man next to the Mezco Logan, as well as the Amazing Yamaguchi Deadpool. And another comparison here, we have Superior Spider-Man next to the DC Multiverse Tim Drake, as well as the DC Multiverse Arkham Asylum Joker. And for one last comparison, we have Superior Spider-Man here with the Victory Royale Shadow Meowscles from Hasbro. We also have the SH Figure Arts Son Goku. And then on the right there, we have the Jada Toys Ryu from Street Fighter II, as well as Fortnite's Kit by Jazzwares. Alright, so final thoughts. Alright, does he look cool? You know, I think he looks pretty cool. I like the black and red. The lenses with the buildings, you know, that reflect is pretty cool. But what makes this guy look absolutely amazing are the tentacles or these claws. Man, that just adds it. It takes a figure, in my opinion, that's about a 40% cool looking figure. It takes it to that 100%. I mean, those claws make this guy look amazing. Price point. Well, you know, he's retail, so about 24 bucks. Some people are finding him for, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I believe Spider Kid said it was about 30 to about 40 bucks, depending where you get him from. So not too shabby. I guess you could consider him a deluxe, you know, but I would have liked to have seen it more at a $30 to $25 price point on this guy. As for articulation, he's got it all. He's got everything that you would want for articulation on him, especially the claws. Those claws can articulate like there is no tomorrow. Those things, they did an outstanding job on those guys. Now, we're not the best at posing figures, but I mean, if you just search the web, you're going to find people that have done amazing jobs of posing this guy. I mean, we're going to try when we do our segment at the end there to see what we can pull off, but man, you can really pull off some cool poses with this guy. Accessory wise, you know, 3 sets of hands, not bad. I just wish we would have got those wall crawling hands. And why don't we have any web effects? You know, I get it, they probably blew the budget on the deco and the lenses and on the claws, but come on, man. Give us a little bit more for that hefty price point, you know? But then again, Marvel Legends can be a little on the slim picking side, so, you know, I leave that up to you guys. Other than that, you know, I don't really have any complaints on this guy. I think he looks great, he articulates well, he came with okay amount of accessories, you know? Yeah, man, this guy looks absolutely amazing. I guess maybe, you know, we could have got a Peter Parker head sculpt, you know? Maybe that would have been nice, you know? But other than that, great figure.
Yeah, it's a really good figure. The articulation is crazy with the feet and all that, and the legs make it a lot more better. Those arms are just really cool. And the different tentacles feel like they will break it sometimes, but surprisingly they have held up pretty good. It does kind of suck though that the two heads have different lenses, but if you're okay with that, then it's pretty good. Besides that though, the hands are good. I wish he had got more of it though, but that's all I have to say about it.
Alright, it's that time again, folks, for our rating. And as always, it's right there on the left. And I'm going to go ahead and have to give this guy a rating of...
My rating is going to be...
And that's going to do it for our review on the Marvel Legends Superior Spider-Man. I'm Steel Wolf.
And Spider Kid.
continue collecting, and remember, stay casual.